Man City's lineup from first PSG encounter in 2008 sums up their transformation. What a difference 13 years makes. In December of 2008, a Manchester City side still getting to grips with their newfound spending power were preparing to take on a Paris Saint-Germain side who were yet to build the financial muscles they would go on to flex so freely for the first time in their history. It is somewhat ironic that 2008, a year littered with financial crisis the world over due to the Great Recession, saw the first ever meeting between Man City and PSG before they would go on to become the wealthiest football clubs on the planet. By the time last season's Champions League semi-final meeting rolled around, both sides were armed with the kind of spending power that would make some countries blush and had already faced each other in 2016. But taking it back to December 2008, long before Pep Guardiola would occupy the Etihad hot seat, City's ground was actually called the City of Manchester Stadium back then. Mirror Sport has analysed City's starting 11 from that entirely forgettable night in Manchester and dissected how the players involved have fared since. Joe Hart, one of 3 members of the starting 11 who remain part of the club when City secured their first Premier League title in dramatic fashion 3 years later, Hart is still remembered fondly by the Etihad faithful. Hart had been at the club for 2 years by this point, though the 2008 season marked his first actually between the sticks for the club. In cup competitions only, Shay Given was deemed City's number 1 for league fixtures. The clean sheet Hart kept on the night in what was a bore 0-0 draw clearly was not enough to win over then-manager Mark Hughes, as Hart was sent out on loan to Birmingham at the end of this season. Having been ushered out of the club with 2 Premier League titles under his belt in the wake of Guardiola's arrival, Hart's career has nosedived, with unsuccessful spells at West Ham, Burnley, and Tottenham before most recently signing for Scottish giants Celtic. Pablo Zabaleta. Not every name from this lineup enjoyed quite an illustrious career as the first 2, but Zabaleta enjoyed an equally successful career as Hart. A crucial part of 2 title-winning sides, the Argentinian right-back also won an FA Cup alongside 2 League Cups, all while establishing himself as one of the best right-backs in the league. This fixture came in Zabaleta's first season at the club, where he would spend just shy of a decade of his career before swapping Manchester for London for a 3-year spell at West Ham United. The Argentine officially announced his retirement from the game in October of 2020. Richard Dunne. In stark contrast to the aforementioned duo, this game just as Dunne's City career was winding down. The man who boasts the unwanted record of most Premier League own goals avoided putting one through his own net when the Parisians came to town, helping to keep a clean sheet. Dunne upped sticks the following summer to ply his trade for Aston Villa under fellow Irishman Martin O'Neill, where he would coincidentally go on to bag his first Villa goal against Man City. He opted against celebrating. 61 clean sheets and 296 appearances later, Dunne is still remembered fondly by City fans. Tal Ben Haim. I'm definitely going to give my best to City and give my heart in every game. I hope that we can do good things this season. I'm looking forward to starting the season here, Tal Ben Haim explained upon his £5 million arrival in 2008. He would last just a season in Manchester, making 9 appearances before joining Sunderland on loan and Portsmouth permanently the following season. Ben Haim's appearance against PSG was one of 3 he would make in Europe for City, significantly more glamorous than his first UEFA Cup qualifier against Ebstramer at Barnsley's Oakwell Stadium. Vincent Kompany. Amid a list of names that left a lot to be desired during their respective City careers, one stands head and shoulders above the rest in Vincent Kompany. The Belgian is widely viewed as one of the best players to don the famous sky blue shirt, having captained the club to Premier League glory. Over the course of his 11 seasons at City, Kompany's trophy haul makes for staggering reading with 4 Premier League titles, 4 League Cups and 2 FA Cups. The centre-back parted ways with City ahead of the 2019-20 season to become player-manager of boyhood club Anderlecht, though a statue has since been unveiled outside the ground in his honor. Garrido. It is often forgotten just how well Garrido's Man City career started, the Spaniard keeping 4 clean sheets in his opening 4 games at left-back. However, things soured quickly as Garrido fell significantly down the pecking order and lost his place by the time the festive period rolled around. Unfortunately, his most notable contribution in a City shirt came while he was an unused substitute in a Manchester derby, where he was struck by a coin thrown from the United fans as he made his way down the tunnel. He lasted 3 years in Manchester before fleeing to Serie A outfit Lazio, though briefly returned to the Premier League with Norwich 3 years later. Stephen Ireland was very much a fan favourite during his time at City, having signed for the club as a teenager. He would go on to win City's Player of the Year for the 2008-09 campaign, which earned him a bolster 5-year contract intended to keep him at the club until 2014. He left at the end of the season. Ireland put pen to paper on a deal with Aston Villa, in a deal that saw James Milner head in the opposite direction, as Ireland had one final parting shot for his former side. I guess James Milner must think the grass is greener on the other side. He's going to get a shock soon, because it's definitely not that way. Daniel Sturridge made a small piece of history over the course of his time at Man City, as he became the only player ever to score in the FA Youth Cup, FA Cup and Premier League in the same season, 2007-08. Having spent 6 years at City, 3 of which were spent in the youth setup, the future England international would go on to find his first team opportunities limited at the City of Manchester Stadium. Sturridge would eventually lead a successful career, though blighted with injury, at a number of City's Premier League rivals including Chelsea and Liverpool. While he has not played in England since 2018, Sturridge made headlines relatively recently after he received a 4-month worldwide ban for breaching betting rules while at Turkish Super League outfit Trabzonspor. Darius Vassell failed to hit the heights many had expected of him when City forked out £2 million for him in 2005, the striker notching just 22 goals across the course of 4 years at the club. City failed to turn a profit on the forward despite his relatively low transfer fee, simply releasing him from his contract upon its expiration. Similarly to Sturridge, Vassell spent time in Turkey, enjoying 1 season at Ankaragucu before a return to England with then Championship side Leicester City. Elano is perhaps the only signing Manchester City have made who has gone on to complement the weather, but given the Brazilian previously played in Ukraine, Manchester's climate may not seem so bad. After impressing during his first season, Elano's thunder was significantly stolen by the arrival of former Real Madrid midfielder Robinho. A dead ball specialist, Elano's long-range shooting was a weapon often used by City. His 25-yard strike against Omonia ensured their qualification into the UEFA Cup to make the meeting with PSG possible. The former midfielder has since gone into management in his home country, where he takes charge of Ferroviaria in the 4th tier of Brazilian football. Joe, another Brazilian, 34-year-old Joe is still going strong in his home country, leading the line of Corinthians, his 3rd separate spell at the club. At the time of his arrival, Joe was City's record signing after Mark Hughes' side parted ways with £19 million to entice him from CSKA Moscow, a far cry from the current record of £100 million on Jack Grealish. The move would go spectacularly bad, with Joe bagging just 1 goal in 21 league appearances for City across 3 different campaigns. Much of the time Joe was on the books of Man City, he was actually on loan at Everton, where things hardly fared any better. After returning to Brazil without permission over the Christmas period of 2009, Toffee's boss David Moyes suspended the striker for a breach of conduct. Joe returned to Brazil in 2011, with City's £19 million investment earning them a dismal return of 6 goals in 41 appearances in all competitions.